I'm Movie Morgan and welcome back to my channel. So I think the first chapter is about 13 minutes of the movie. While I was reading that first chapter, I was blown away on how much I forgot. So I thought I would include as much as I could because as a movie lover and a reader, I always forget what happens in the books after I see the movie a bunch of times because, we become oversaturated with the movies. I just want to share a bunch of those little details because I know they're important to me, so if you really like this book, I'm sure you really want to know the details too. So that's why I'm trying to point out as much as I can. I own 3 of the movies. I do not own Mockingjay Part 2 yet. I've been telling myself to buy it on Amazon, but I keep forgetting. And I wanted to reread these books, so I'm just going to wait a little bit to do that. On to the movie. It starts with an excerpt from the Treaty of Treason. It's kind of what Katniss describes in the book. We don't have a direct quote in the book. It says, "From the Treaty of Treason. In penance for their uprising, each district shall offer up a male and a female between the ages of 12 and 18 at a public reaping." End quotes. "These tributes shall be delivered to the custody of the capital, and then transferred to a public arena where they will fight to the death until a lone victor remains. Henceforth and forevermore this pageant shall be known as the Hunger Games." And then it goes on with that interview between Caesar Flickerman and Seneca Crane. They're talking about the Hunger Games, how it's a reminder of the rebellion. Capital has grown from that in the districts, and it's something that knits them all together. And it's Seneca Crane's 3rd year as game maker. And once they get to District 12 in the movie, they have Katniss comforting Prim in their bed because Prim had nightmares, and so Prim was not in her mother's bed in the movie. She describes the cat as having a mashed-in nose, half of one ear missing, eyes the color of rotting squash. The cat is not the same color. It is black and white. And it looks like a perfectly good cat that I like how they touch on in the movie. A little bit, she goes, "I'll still cook you," but in the book, Katniss tries to drown him when Prim first brought him home. Basically, the same things happen, but obviously the book has a little more detail about what's happening, and here is the biggest difference of this chapter. It is when Katniss goes to the market, I believe it is. I don't think it's the Hob in the movie, I think it is the market, but this is where she gets the pin after she goes hunting. Gale and her share the bread. This is when she goes to the market. She trades something with the old woman first, and then she's looking through the things in front of her and finds a gold pin. And she goes, "What is this?" And the old woman says, "It's a Mockingjay." Katniss says, "How much?" And the old woman says she can keep it. That is what makes me really, really, really angry about the movie. Because in the book, Katniss gets it from Madge. And Madge is her friend. Like, she says they don't talk much, but they spend time together, so they are friends. I think it is a bigger symbol coming from the mayor's daughter rather than a random old woman because Katniss and Madge are friends. And it's kind of like a little symbol between the merchant class and the people from the seam coming together, like the really poor people, and then kind of like the middle class people, the people who are better off. Madge is like, "You're my friend, I want you to take this expensive gold pin," because in the book they describe it as like that pin could feed us for months. Like, if we traded it for bread, it'd give us bread for months to feed their families. So the fact that Madge just wears the pin, she doesn't need to trade it for bread or something like that, or food to feed her family, and she gives it to Katniss as a symbol of District 12. But that doesn't happen yet in the book. Crap. So, I just spoiled it a little bit of future chapters because I forgot that this didn't happen in chapter 1 where Madge gives Katniss the pin, but sorry. I will talk about that again, I guess. Anyway, you heard that Madge had a gold pin on. It was the Mockingjay pin, and Katniss didn't really know what it was. She just knew it was a gold pin in chapter 1, and she just saw that it was real gold and it could feed her family for months if she had it. But in the movie, Katniss gets the pin from this old lady. Katniss doesn't get it until after the reaping in the book, but I will talk more about that once we get to those chapters. So in the book, Katniss does get the pin from Madge. Sorry to spoil that, but I think that's important comparing it to the movie because Katniss buys this pin at the market for Prim, and it's for Prim to be brave and it'll protect her, she says. I just don't like that. I don't think that's as big of a symbol as Madge giving Katniss the pin. They do include the little duck part with Prim's outfit and her tail sticking out. I thought that was cute. Just shows how innocent Prim still is. She's 12 years old. Can't tuck in her shirt. She doesn't realize that her tail is out. When Katniss gets ready, her mom does put her hair up in the braid. I like how they stick with the braid in the movie. So you can sense some tension between Katniss and her mom when they are getting ready for the reaping, because, you know, Katniss is going right to Prim. She's saying, "Oh, Prim, you're beautiful, like, you look amazing," like, treating her like she's her daughter. You can see the mom being kind of, like, ashamed and guilty of that. You can see it in her face that she's, like, a little disappointed. I think she feels like Katniss is being mean to her, and she feels a little wounded by that, but Katniss has been taking care of Prim by herself for so long after her mom was just sitting there and letting them starve. Katniss is definitely still holding a grudge over her mom for that. That's when she gives Prim the pin. She says it'll be good luck. On the stage I was looking and there were 6 people lined up in the chairs. Haymitch wasn't one of them, I don't think, and the mayor is non-existent in the movie as well. So Madge and the mayor do not exist in the movie. Then they play the film from the Capitol. I'll read that because I love it, just like Effie says she loves it. By the way, Effie is wearing a magenta outfit with flowers around her neck. She's not wearing a green suit like the book, but she is wearing like pink all over. So these are the words from the film from the Capitol. War, terrible war. Widows, orphans, a motherless child. This was the uprising that rocked our land. 13 districts rebelled against the country that fed them, loved them, protected them. Brother turned on brother, until nothing remained. Then came the peace, hard fought, sorely won. A people rose from the ashes, and a new era was born. But freedom has a cost, and the traitors were defeated. We swore as a nation we would never know this treason again. And so it was decreed that each year the various districts of Panem would offer up, in tribute, one young man and woman to fight to the death in a pageant of honor, courage, and sacrifice. The lone victor, bathed in riches, would serve as a reminder of a generosity and our forgiveness. This is how we remember our past. This is how we safeguard our future. And Effie mouths the last line, which I thought was funny. Then Effie goes on to choose which girl will be picked for the Hunger Games, and she says, as always, ladies first. She goes to the glass bowl, and she picks a name, and says Primrose Everdeen, and that's where chapter 1 ends. So I'm going to end there with the movie. But yeah, I think they did a really good job with the movie of making it similar. Definitely the pin part, I do not like how they took that out, how it was Madge's pin. If you haven't read this in a while, I highly recommend reading it. I'm loving it so far. But thank you for joining me today. I'm Movie Morgan, and keep watching movies.